There was a story that I had heard about a priest who was doubting the existence of God in the Eucharist. And he had asked God to show him that this is real. So during the consecration, when he had broken the bread, blood flowed out and he immediately fell to his knees crying. This is a story that I really love. It has reflected in my life and how I love the Eucharist. I grew up in a very broken family. I didn't really feel like I had purpose growing up. I desired to be loved, but I felt like I wasn't enough. I am a first-generation Chaldean-American. My parents are both from Iraq. I am a woman, so I was not treated the best in my culture. My whole purpose was, you need to get married and have kids. The expectations that were put upon me about being a woman, or what it is to be a woman, taught me that I am not valued, that I'm not important, that I am to be treated however men want to treat me. My dad and my brothers could behave in any way they'd like. My dad had used the Bible to justify the things that he was doing in his life. And this left me feeling more removed from God. And I wondered, okay, well, if this is associated with God, then I want nothing to do with it. Me and my brothers have had all forms of abuse growing up. I was physically, sexually, and verbally, mentally abused. I really focused on being loved and trying to earn this love in any way that I could. The biggest place where I desired this love was with my relationship with my father. And I tried everything that I could to earn his love, and nothing was ever enough. I felt the most isolated when my dad left the family to be with another family. And I remember I was in junior high, a school counselor had called me up to just let me know what had happened. She told me the news. I wasn't surprised by it, but I remember just feeling so numb and so alone and just upset and just in this darkness and in this loneliness. I felt that it was all my fault because that's all I was led to believe growing up, that any family altercation or problem was me. And I remember thinking, God, like, you left me, I'm alone. Why did this have to be my family? I was at Mass one day and there was a mirror of the Holy Family, and I remember looking at it and I remember focusing in on Joseph. I remember looking at him and saying, Joseph, for all those who have forgotten you, who have abandoned you, I am going to be here and I'm going to focus on you and I'm going to have this relationship with you and I'm never going to forget you. I didn't know this at the time, but it was almost like St. Joseph was picking me and helping me and walking through with me as my foster father, because I didn't have that growing up. I viewed God as somebody that was going to hurt me, abuse me, and leave me and abandon me. But St. Joseph stepped up and he's been with me ever since. When I went into high school, there was more conversations about religion, what we believed in, and I always said I was Catholic. Well, senior year of high school came and people started questioning that. So then I said, you know what, I'm gonna go figure out why I am Catholic and see if this is true. I started going to this youth group, and there were leaders that were there that showed me what it was like to be a good father and were a father figure to me during that time. Just as the priest from Italy being revealed in that moment who Jesus was, God was slowly revealing himself to me. My aunt had a therapist and she told me you should reach out to him, just set something up. I was scared to be vulnerable with somebody, to really put everything out on a platter, but I called him up. And it was a man. I remember the first meeting we had, I looked at him, very bluntly said, I don't think there's gonna be any progress here because you're a man and I don't trust men. And he looked right back at me and said, okay, that's good. I'm happy you're here because you're gonna learn to trust men. And that kind of just started my journey. It made me feel that he wasn't gonna give up on me. And he didn't. I'm still with him and he's amazing. This therapist that showed he wasn't gonna give up on me, I realized that God had never given up on me, that he's been with me through all those dark parts of my life. I felt so much joy and peace and love. Having that encounter just really solidified that for me, like the priest in Italy with his experience with the Eucharist and the transformation.
Our loving God never desires that harm would be done to us. That when he sees us suffering, that what does he do? But he chooses to come be with us. That he embraces the cross of abuse, of pain, and he looks over at us and he says that I did not desire this for you. The people I sent to protect you, to love you, did not do that. And there's a grave injustice there, that God gets angry at injustice. And there will be an accountability one day, but what we desire is that healing. And that what happened to us is not a reflection of our own dignity. That who we remain is always good, even if very wounded. We're all wounded. He didn't make us to be broken. And yet Jesus, out of love for us, chooses to make himself broken, to crushed wheat in the Eucharist. That when I look at the Eucharist, I think Jesus chose to become crushed with me as I feel crushed and broken, so that I would not be alone. That's how much he loves me. That he sees my dignity and goodness, and he says, you have always been and always will be. You are my precious girl, my beloved son, and nothing could ever change that.